The unexpected attack. Emerges Empire. It was a quiet evening on Earth when everything changed. People were going about their daily lives, unaware of the dark threat that was quickly closing in. In the vast reaches of space, a massive alien empire, unknown to Earth, was preparing to strike. For years, they had watched humanity from afar. And now, the moment had come. The Earth was about to face an enemy unlike anything they had ever seen before. The first sign came not from the sky, but from the communication systems. Around the world, strange signals began to appear on radio frequencies, confusing scientists and military personnel. They were coded messages, unlike anything humans had ever encountered. The signals weren't just random. They were a warning, a signal of invasion. At first, people didn't believe it. Many thought it was a malfunction, just another glitch in the system. But deep in the heart of Earth's military command, leaders began to understand the true nature of the threat. The alien fleet was already on its way. It was too late to stop them, and they had underestimated the enemy. The aliens were led by a powerful empire, one that had conquered countless planets. Earth was just another conquest on their list, a world to be enslaved and stripped of its resources. The alien fleet was enormous, far larger than anything humanity had ever seen. With weapons capable of decimating entire cities in an instant, the aliens had no doubt that Earth's defenses would crumble under their might. The invasion began without warning. In the dead of night, without a single shot fired, massive ships appeared in the skies over every major city. The world's radar systems couldn't detect them in time. They were cloaked, hidden from human eyes until they were right above. There was no time to prepare, no time to evacuate, no time to stop the destruction. It started with a flash. The sky above New York City erupted into a brilliant blaze as one of the alien ships fired its first weapon. A powerful beam of energy shot down, tearing through the skyscrapers and sending shockwaves through the streets below. People screamed, running for cover as the once bustling city became a battlefield. Cars exploded, buildings crumbled, and fires raged in every direction. The devastation was immediate and overwhelming. As the alien fleet advanced, they didn't bother to negotiate or demand surrender. They didn't even speak to Earth's leaders. They simply attacked. Lasers and missiles rained down upon the planet, targeting key infrastructure and military bases. Power plants exploded, leaving millions in darkness. The world's armies were powerless to stop them. By the time the world's governments realized what was happening, it was already too late. The alien forces had already neutralized most of the planet's defenses. There were no shields to protect Earth. There was no army strong enough to challenge them. Humanity was on the brink of extinction. In the chaos, people tried to fight back. Armed soldiers fired at the alien ships, but their weapons had no effect. Tanks rolled into the streets, only to be blasted to pieces by the alien weaponry. Fighter jets scrambled into the sky, but they were quickly shot down. The alien ships moved with terrifying precision, taking out Earth's defenses one by one. Meanwhile, in the quiet of a bunker deep beneath the ground, a small group of military leaders and scientists watched in horror. They knew that Earth was facing annihilation, but they also knew that there was still hope. It wasn't much, just a slim chance. But it was all they had. The aliens believed that humanity would crumble before their might, that Earth would fall like so many other planets had. But what they didn't know was that Earth had one advantage: its people. Humans had fought and survived through countless struggles in history. They had risen from the ashes before, and they could do it again. But for now, there was nothing they could do but watch as their cities burned. The alien fleet was too powerful, too advanced. And yet, amidst the destruction, there was a spark of defiance. The people of Earth wouldn't give up without a fight. As the world's leaders scrambled to form a plan, they knew one thing for certain: humanity was not going to surrender. This wasn't the end. It couldn't be. Earth would retaliate. They just needed to survive long enough to strike back. And somewhere deep inside the heart of the Earth's military command, a plan was already beginning to form. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Enough to make the alien empire realize one thing. They had made a huge mistake. The fight for Earth was only beginning. And no one, not even the alien empire, could have predicted the unexpected twist that was about to come. The rising resistance. The alien empire's first wave of attack had shattered Earth's defenses. Cities lay in ruins, and the world's military forces were crumbling under the advanced weapons of the invaders. The people of Earth had been caught off guard, unprepared for an assault of this magnitude. But in the darkest hour, something incredible began to stir, a spark of resistance. In underground bunkers scattered across the globe, groups of military leaders, engineers, and scientists gathered in secret. They were survivors of the first wave, those who had managed to escape the immediate destruction. The enemy had believed that Earth's defenses were weak, but they had underestimated the resilience of humankind. They had made a critical mistake. Though the alien empire had wiped out most of the Earth's military, there were still pockets of resistance. Small teams of soldiers, civilians, and scientists began to organize in the shadows. They knew they had no chance of winning with brute force, but they weren't ready to give up. The fight for survival was just beginning, and they had a secret weapon, something that could turn the tide. In these hidden bunkers, plans began to take shape. The survivors had access to Earth's most advanced technologies, but their true advantage lay in human creativity and determination. They began to reverse engineer alien technology, looking for ways to fight back. They scoured old archives, searching for ancient knowledge, anything that could give them an edge. Some of the brightest minds on Earth were working together, united by a single goal: to protect their world. One of the most crucial discoveries was a long-forgotten Earth weapon, hidden beneath the surface of the ocean for centuries. The weapon had been designed as a defense system, built during a time when Earth feared other threats from space. It was an ancient relic, barely functional, but still powerful enough to make a difference. It was humanity's last hope. The scientists worked tirelessly to bring the weapon online. It was slow work, and the aliens weren't waiting. The second wave of invaders came just days after the first, landing in different parts of the globe. With each new strike, the alien empire tightened its grip on Earth. It seemed that victory was slipping further and further away. But the resistance refused to surrender. As the aliens launched their attacks on key cities and military bases, humanity's survivors watched from the safety of their hidden bunkers. They couldn't afford to make a mistake. Every move had to be precise, every strike carefully calculated. The stakes were higher than ever. In the midst of this uncertainty, one leader emerged. His name was General Marcus Leclerc, a former military strategist who had seen Earth's best and worst during his long career. Now, he was leading the charge to save humanity. He wasn't a man of many words, but his presence alone inspired those around him. General Leclerc had seen enough to know that Earth's survival depended on more than just technology. It relied on the strength of the human spirit. The resistance had no time for hesitation. As the alien empire continued to press forward, the human forces began their first coordinated counterattack. It wasn't much, just a handful of ships armed with experimental weapons, but it was enough to show the aliens that humanity wasn't as weak as they had thought. The first wave of human fighters moved into the skies. Their ships were small and poorly equipped compared to the alien fleet, but they used every trick in the book to evade detection. Stealth technology, once considered a joke, now became humanity's greatest asset. The aliens, expecting a full-scale battle, were taken by surprise. Earth's forces managed to hit several key targets in the alien fleet before retreating, leaving the invaders baffled and angry. Despite the losses, this small victory sent a message to the alien empire. The humans were not defeated. They weren't going to surrender without a fight. It was a small victory, but it was enough to give the resistance hope and to show the alien forces that they had made a mistake underestimating humanity. As General Leclerc looked over the battlefield, He knew the war wasn't over. It was far from it. The alien empire still held the upper hand. But for the first time since the invasion began, there was a glimmer of hope. Humanity was fighting back, and the alien invaders had no idea what they had started. In the hidden bunkers, as plans continued to evolve, humanity's resolve grew stronger. They had taken the first step toward reclaiming their world. The resistance was rising, and Earth's fight for survival had only just begun. Preparing for war. The small victory humanity had achieved in the skies gave the world a glimmer of hope. But deep down, everyone knew the battle was far from won. The alien empire's forces were overwhelming, and Earth's military was still crippled. The resistance, however, was determined. They knew that if they could make one final decisive move, they could shift the balance of power. It was all or nothing now. The survivors in the underground bunkers worked around the clock. General Marcus Leclerc and his team of scientists, engineers, and military strategists had a single goal in mind: to bring Earth's ancient weapon back to life. This weapon, buried beneath the ocean, was one of the last hopes humanity had. It had been designed during an era when Earth's leaders feared the unknown dangers of space, but it had never been fully operational until now. The weapon, known only as Project Titan, was a massive piece of technology. It had the power to strike the alien fleet from miles away, but its activation would require everything the Resistance had. The device was old, and many of the systems were damaged from years of disuse. The engineers worked day and night, carefully restoring the necessary components, while others began gathering the needed resources from every corner of the Earth. General Leclerc knew the stakes. If they failed to reactivate the weapon, humanity would be doomed. But if they succeeded, the alien empire would understand that Earth was not a world to be taken lightly. They could turn the tide, even if it meant risking everything. As the team worked tirelessly, a different kind of pressure began to mount. The alien forces were not sitting idle. They were relentlessly attacking cities and military strongholds, slowly but surely crushing what remained of Earth's defenses. With each strike, their confidence grew. They believed Earth's resistance was nothing more than a nuisance, something to be swept aside when the time came. But that was exactly what the Resistance wanted them to think. With the weapon still being repaired, Earth's surviving forces focused on preparing for the next phase. They didn't have the luxury of time, and the aliens were closing in. The Resistance sent out small units of soldiers and pilots to launch tactical strikes on alien supply lines. Each attack was carefully planned, designed to slow the invaders' advance without provoking a full-scale retaliation. It was a dangerous game, but the humans were playing it well. In the midst of all this, one thing became clear to General Leclerc. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't just in their technology, but in their sheer will to survive. Even in the face of near-certain defeat, people kept fighting, kept pushing forward. Some cities had already fallen, but others refused to give up. Communities organized, rallying to the cause. Ordinary people, civilians, farmers, students, joined the Resistance, armed with little more than their courage. General Leclerc met with his top commanders, planning the next steps. The alien forces were powerful, but their overconfidence had blinded them to the resilience of the humans they were trying to conquer. Leclerc's strategy was simple but daring: hit the alien forces where it hurt the most. Earth's resistance couldn't match the aliens' firepower, but they had something the invaders didn't: flexibility, creativity, and a deep love for their planet. The aliens had underestimated them, and now they would pay the price. As the final components of Project Titan were brought online, the tension in the bunkers grew. The weapon was nearly ready, but it needed a power source that had not been available for centuries. The team had managed to find a new energy source deep in the heart of a volcano, and it was their only chance to power the ancient weapon. It was a dangerous mission, but General Leclerc trusted his team to make it happen. They would get the energy, or Earth's last hope would be lost forever. The world held its breath as the Resistance carried out their daring mission. In the skies, small groups of fighter jets launched hit-and-run attacks against the alien fleet, drawing attention away from the secret operations happening below. Humanity was learning how to fight the alien empire with the one thing they had mastered over centuries: guerrilla tactics. And then, the moment came. The power needed to activate Project Titan was secured. The weapon hummed to life, its colossal form rising from the ocean, ready for battle. But the aliens hadn't been idle either. They had detected the unusual energy signature from Earth and were preparing for the final assault. The countdown had begun, and the fate of Earth would soon be decided. General Leclerc stood at the command center, watching the screen as Earth's ancient weapon powered up. The alien empire might have underestimated humanity, but they had no idea what was coming. The war was far from over, but the resistance now had a fighting chance. Earth's survival was no longer a distant hope. It was a reality that was just within reach. The first strike. The day the weapon came online was a turning point. Project Titan, the ancient weapon that had been dormant for centuries, now hummed with life. It was Earth's last hope, a symbol of humanity's ability to fight back against an overwhelming force. But activating the weapon was just the first step. Now came the true test, whether it could be used to deliver a crushing blow to the alien fleet. The alien forces had already established dominance across Earth's major cities and military installations. Their ships filled the skies, blocking out the sun, while their ground forces ravaged the cities. Yet they had grown complacent, believing Earth was no longer a threat. Their eyes were on the final push, the annihilation of all remaining resistance, unaware that a storm was gathering in the shadows. General Leclerc knew this was their only chance. With Project Titan now fully powered, humanity's forces began the risky, high-stakes operation. It was a coordinated effort involving every human fighter remaining on Earth. Small units of fighters, armed with experimental weapons and cloaking technology, would strike at the heart of the alien fleet, while the weapon itself fired the first shot. The strategy was dangerous, reckless even, but it was all they had. The Resistance's fleet, though smaller and weaker than the alien armada, was united by a single purpose: to strike back with everything they had. They launched their assault in the dead of night, using the cover of darkness to sneak past the alien ships. The aliens had underestimated the humans once again, assuming that their technology would ensure an easy victory. The humans were careful, their attacks swift and precise. Fighter jets zipped through the alien lines, launching missiles that found their targets with surprising accuracy. The alien ships retaliated, their weapons turning the sky into a field of laser fire. But the humans were ready, using every bit of their ingenuity and speed to stay one step ahead. It was in the midst of this chaos that Project Titan made its debut. General Leclerc stood in the command center, eyes locked on the screen as the weapon activated. From the ocean, a massive beam of energy shot into the sky. It was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. Bright, piercing, and powerful. The beam tore through the alien fleet with devastating force. One of their largest ships exploded in a burst of flames, disintegrating into nothingness. The first strike had been successful. Earth had shown the alien empire that they were no longer helpless. The Resistance watched as the aliens began to panic. The sheer power of Project Titan had taken them by surprise, and the invaders had no idea how to respond. For a moment, it seemed like the battle might actually shift in humanity's favor. But the aliens were not ones to back down easily. They quickly regrouped, sending reinforcements to counter the human strike. More ships appeared in the sky, and the remaining alien forces reorganized. They launched their own counterattacks, aiming to take out the weapon that had caused so much destruction. The battle was far from over, and the aliens were determined to wipe out the humans once and for all. Despite the damage they had dealt, humanity's forces were outmatched. The alien fleet was vast, their technology far more advanced, and Earth's forces were now exposed. General Leclerc knew that they had only moments before the aliens would retaliate with full force. The Resistance fighters needed to keep the pressure on. But they couldn't do it alone. They needed reinforcements, and they needed to get the weapon firing again. The second wave of alien ships closed in, targeting Earth's remaining military bases and key infrastructure. The humans had dealt a heavy blow, but the alien empire was quick to recover. The situation was growing dire, and General Leclerc could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. It seemed that every decision, every move, would determine whether humanity would survive or fall. But even as the alien ships drew closer, there was something the invaders didn't understand. The humans weren't afraid to sacrifice everything. The first strike was only the beginning. They would not give up, no matter how many lives it cost. As the battle raged on, Earth's resistance soldiers fought with everything they had, determined to hold back the alien onslaught. The weapons may have been powerful, but it was the will of humanity that would ultimately decide the fate of the planet. General Leclerc's voice cut through the chaos, his orders clear and decisive. "Keep pushing forward. We've opened the door. Now we break through." Humanity wasn't backing down. The first strike had shown the alien empire the strength and resilience of Earth. But the war was far from won. It was only the beginning. The turning point. The battle had raged on for days, with neither side willing to back down. The alien forces, despite their overwhelming strength and technological superiority, were beginning to show signs of uncertainty. Earth's first strike with Project Titan had dealt them a serious blow, one they hadn't anticipated. But the fight was far from over, and the resistance had yet to find the edge they needed to truly turn the tide. General Marcus Leclerc stood in the command center, staring at the holographic display of the battlefield. The alien fleet, massive and terrifying, had regrouped after the first strike, launching a relentless counteroffensive that was pushing humanity's forces back. Earth's remaining ships and fighters were battered, their numbers dwindling by the hour, but the human spirit remained unbroken. The aliens had made one critical mistake, one they hadn't even realized yet. They had underestimated Earth's ability to fight back, believing that after the initial wave of destruction, humanity would crumble under the pressure. But they hadn't counted on the relentless determination of those still standing. As the alien forces advanced, humanity's resistance fighters fought with all they had. They knew they were outgunned, outnumbered, and outmatched in nearly every way. But they had something the aliens could never understand: the will to survive, the will to protect their home. And it was this spirit that began to make all the difference. Behind the front lines, in the heart of Earth's hidden bunkers, a group of military engineers and scientists worked furiously. They had been tasked with a secret mission, one that could potentially shift the course of the war. After months of research, they had discovered a vulnerability in the alien fleet's defenses, a weakness that could be exploited if they acted fast enough. It was a long shot. The aliens had been careful to shield their command center, using advanced cloaking technology to hide their main vessel. If Earth's forces could strike at the heart of the alien fleet, they could cripple the entire invasion. But to do so, they needed to get close, too close. The risks were enormous, but the potential reward was worth the gamble. General Leclerc was briefed on the plan. It was a bold maneuver, one that would require every remaining fighter Earth had. A small, elite group of pilots would fly under the radar, using stealth technology to slip past the alien defenses. Their goal: to plant a devastating charge deep within the alien command center, a move that would disrupt the entire fleet's operations. The plan was put into action immediately. With no time to waste, the pilots gathered for their mission, knowing that many of them would not make it back. Some were veterans who had fought for years, others were new recruits, eager to prove themselves. But all of them shared one thing in common: they were ready to sacrifice everything for Earth. As they launched into the sky, the resistance fighters knew the stakes were higher than ever. The alien fleet was closing in on Earth's last strongholds, and every moment counted. Their mission wasn't just about survival. It was about sending a message to the alien empire. Humanity would not go down without a fight. The stealth ships cut through the atmosphere, weaving through the debris of fallen cities and burning landscapes. The alien fleet was massive, its ships dominating the sky, but the human pilots used every trick they had learned to stay hidden. They were small, fast, and agile, but their chances of success were slim. Yet they kept moving forward, knowing that failure meant the end of humanity. The tension was palpable as they approached the heart of the alien fleet. Their cloaking systems were holding, but the alien ships were getting closer. One wrong move, one slip-up, and they would be spotted. The pilots held their breath, praying that their technology would be enough to keep them hidden. Then, without warning, the lead ship in the group was hit. A laser beam tore through its hull, sending it spiraling into the abyss of space. The rest of the fleet followed suit, launching their attacks on the alien ships, taking down several before the aliens could react. The fight was on, but they were still not close enough to their target. As the human fighters pressed forward, the alien fleet retaliated, launching wave after wave of firepower. The sky lit up with explosions, and the sound of battle was deafening. Yet, amid the chaos, the resistance fighters pushed on. They were close, so close to their target. And then, it happened. The charge was set. In the heart of the alien command center, deep within the largest of the alien ships, a massive explosion rocked the entire fleet. The shockwave sent ripples through space, knocking out the alien ship's systems and disrupting their communications. The alien fleet was thrown into disarray, and for the first time, the invaders were forced to retreat. The humans had done it. The alien empire had been struck at its core, and the momentum of the war had shifted. The resistance had achieved what seemed impossible, proving once again that humanity's ability to adapt and fight back was something the alien empire had never understood. But the battle wasn't over. The alien forces were still formidable, and they would regroup. But now, humanity had a chance to win. They had the advantage, and they weren't about to let it slip away. The turning point had arrived, and the fate of Earth was no longer in the hands of the invaders. Humanity had made its stand. The aliens had underestimated Earth before, and now they would pay the price. The final push. The moment had finally arrived. Earth had been pushed to the brink, with its cities in ruins and its forces nearly wiped out, but the tides of war had shifted. The explosion in the heart of the alien command center had caused massive disruption within the invader fleet, throwing them into disarray. For the first time since the invasion began, Earth's resistance could sense victory within their grasp. The fight, however, was far from over. General Marcus Leclerc stood at the command center, staring at the screens that now showed the chaos within the alien fleet. The aliens were not retreating, but they were reeling. They were disorganized, confused, and trying to recover from the devastating blow to their command structure. This was humanity's chance. It was time for the final push. But even with the advantage, Earth's forces were still outnumbered. The alien fleet was vast, and their firepower was unmatched. The resistance had to act quickly, striking while the aliens were still trying to reorganize. There was no time to waste. Leclerc issued his orders. Every remaining ship, every soldier, and every fighter would converge on the alien fleet in a coordinated all-out assault. The humans had no choice but to push forward with everything they had left. It would be a fight to the finish. Either they would win, or humanity would face total annihilation. The resistance forces launched their attack. They moved in waves, drawing on everything they had learned in the previous months of combat. Every battle, every defeat, every moment of hardship had prepared them for this. They had learned to fight like shadows, striking where the enemy least expected, using guerrilla tactics and improvisation to make up for their lack of numbers. The alien ships, still scrambling to regroup, struggled to fend off the relentless human fighters. Earth's ships, though smaller and less powerful, were fast and relentless. They weaved in and out of the alien defenses, dodging fire and taking out key targets whenever they could. The human pilots flew with a level of desperation and skill born from knowing that this was their final chance. At the heart of the battle, the alien mothership loomed. It was a massive, menacing structure, the command center for the entire fleet. If humanity could take it down, the rest of the alien forces would be left without direction, and victory would be within reach. But the mothership was heavily defended, surrounded by dozens of smaller ships, and protected by powerful shields. General Leclerc knew that if they were to succeed, they had to strike directly at the mothership's weak points. But it was too well guarded. The resistance needed a way to get past the shields, to find an opening that the aliens hadn't yet noticed. In the midst of the chaos, a brave group of fighters led by Captain Eliza Morgan made a daring decision. She and her team would fly directly into the heart of the alien formation, distracting the defenders long enough for the rest of the fleet to get through. They would risk everything, knowing full well that they might not make it back. With a grim determination, Captain Morgan's squadron blasted through the alien defenses. They dodged fire and cut their way through the enemy ships, drawing the attention of the alien forces away from the main assault. As the alien ships turned to engage them, the remaining human fleet moved into position. Now was the time. The resistance launched a final, coordinated strike at the mothership's vulnerable points. Using the information they had gathered in the past few days, they targeted the weak spots in the alien shields. Explosions rang out as the alien shields began to flicker and fail. The alien mothership was vulnerable. The resistance fighters pressed forward, firing everything they had. Missiles, lasers, and bombs rained down on the mothership. The alien forces fought back fiercely, but the humans were relentless. Every ship, every pilot, every soldier on the ground knew what was at stake. This wasn't just a battle for survival. It was a battle for the future of their world. Then, in a moment of terrifying brilliance, Captain Morgan's squadron managed to breach the mothership's defenses. They flew directly into the heart of the massive ship, planting explosives deep within its core. The countdown began. The alien fleet tried to regroup, but it was too late. The core of the mothership erupted in a massive explosion, sending shockwaves through the entire alien fleet. One by one, the remaining ships began to lose power, their communications severed, and their movements erratic. Without their command center, the alien forces were in disarray, unable to coordinate their attacks. The battle was over. The resistance had done it. The alien invaders were defeated. But the cost had been high. Earth's cities lay in ruins, and many lives had been lost in the struggle. The survivors looked at the sky, knowing that while they had won, the scars of war would remain forever. Yet, there was hope. Earth had proven that even in the darkest of times, humanity could rise above any challenge. They had shown the universe that the human spirit was not easily broken. The alien empire had underestimated them, and now they knew better. As General Leclerc surveyed the aftermath of the battle, he knew this victory would change everything. Earth had survived. And now, with the alien threat vanquished, humanity could rebuild and prepare for whatever challenges the future might hold. Victory and aftermath. The battle was over, but the scars of war were everywhere. The once thriving cities of Earth now lay in ruins, the ground littered with debris, and the air thick with smoke. The alien fleet, once an overwhelming force that had seemed unstoppable, was no more. The survivors, though battered and bruised, had won. Earth had prevailed. General Marcus Leclerc stood atop the remains of a shattered building, looking out over the devastation. The sun was beginning to set, casting an eerie glow over the wreckage. It was hard to comprehend the scale of the destruction, the countless lives lost in the fight for Earth's survival. Yet, despite the loss, there was a sense of accomplishment. Humanity had done the impossible. They had fought back against an empire that thought it could easily crush them. Around him, the resistance forces were regrouping. Soldiers, engineers, and civilians alike, working together to salvage what was left of their world. People came together, offering aid, caring for the wounded, and beginning the long process of rebuilding. The alien threat had been vanquished, but the true work had just begun. Humanity was a broken planet, but it was still alive, and that was something to be proud of. The leaders of the resistance met in a war room, their faces somber but resolute. The victory over the alien empire was immense, but they knew that Earth's future was uncertain. There would be no quick recovery. The planet had been ravaged, its resources drained by the conflict. But for the first time in a long while, there was hope. A hope that humanity would rise again, that they would rebuild stronger than before. "We've won," General Leclerc said quietly, his voice filled with both relief and sorrow. "But the work doesn't end here. We have to rebuild our world. We have to rebuild our future." The resistance leaders nodded. The war was over, but Earth was far from healed. Many cities were in ruins, and entire populations had been lost. But the human spirit had proven to be indomitable. They had fought with everything they had, and now it was time to ensure that the price of victory was not in vain. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's governments began to reassemble. New coalitions formed, led by those who had survived the invasion, while survivors across the globe began to rebuild their homes and lives. The alien ships that had once loomed so ominously in the sky were now salvageable, offering new opportunities for technological advancements. Earth had won not just a victory of survival, but a chance to rise even further, to move forward with newfound strength and unity. As the months passed, Earth began to heal. The world that had been nearly brought to extinction now started its recovery. Old cities were rebuilt, and new ones began to rise from the ashes. Earth's population, though greatly diminished, was stronger than ever before. They had faced an unimaginable enemy, and they had triumphed. The alien empire, once so sure of its dominance, had been forced to retreat into the depths of space, its ships scattered and its forces scattered across the stars. They had underestimated humanity, and now they knew better. The people of Earth had learned a valuable lesson in their fight for survival. Never again would they allow their world to be taken for granted. They had seen the destruction that could be wrought by an enemy who underestimated their strength, but they had also seen the incredible resilience that lay within them. Humanity would not forget what had happened, and they would prepare for any future threat, no matter where it came from. General Leclerc and the other leaders knew that Earth would never be the same. The scars of the invasion would remain, but they had given birth to something new, something that had emerged from the fire of battle. A united humanity, determined to never let such a calamity happen again. Earth's future would be one of peace and progress, but only because its people had paid the price for it. As Earth began its recovery, people looked to the stars once more. Humanity had survived the impossible, and though the scars of war would remain, they had proven one thing: that no matter the threat, no matter the odds, humanity would always rise. The alien empire may have underestimated them, but now they would never forget the day Earth's fleet arrived to retaliate. The story of their survival, of their ultimate victory, would echo across the cosmos for generations to come. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged victorious.